Support for Up to Date is provided by Geisinger, providing world-class care for our community, here where it matters.
Hello and happy Monday. Welcome to Up to Date from WVIA News. I'm Sarah Scinto, here to get you caught up on all the news you should know about. It's time for summer camp, and one camp in Columbia County caters to children with traumatic brain injuries. And we'll be on the run with Haley O'Brien in the latest News Voices. It's Monday, June 22nd. Let's get you up to date. We'll start at summer camp. Camp Cranium is a camp for children with traumatic brain injuries. The week-long camp offers community support and fun for the campers, encouraging independence and building their confidence every June. WVIA's Lydia McFarland reports from the campground in Columbia County.
Tony Sadowski has been Camp Cranium's executive director since 2024, and his son Brian has been a camper for the past decade.
We go from that scary, traumatic moment as parents where you're in the emergency room not knowing what version of your son's going to wake up. And we're very lucky to be able to be here and enjoy this week with him.
And now, Brian is a high school graduate, heading to Elizabethtown College in the fall to study occupational therapy. Camp activities include archery, swimming, rock climbing, ziplining, and more. Drew Meyer is the director of operations.
I haven't seen anything yet that they haven't been able to do with time and with the drive and with the creativity. They will find a way to get it done.
Campers range in age from 8 to 21. It costs $500 per camper, with what Sadowski calls camperships for those with financial needs. Brianna Engelman first came to camp in 2018.
Oh, it's like a home to me. I found people that don't judge me like the Wheelwood people do. I found a family.
Sadowski reflects on the past decade, watching his son heal and grow into a young man.
What is important about camp is we see the gradual progress that all these kids are making, and what feels small to some people, like being able to tie your shoe on your own again, something like that, is incredibly important and huge for that child.
This year, Camp Cranium welcomed 25 campers. In rural Columbia County, I'm Lydia McFarland, WVIA News.
Thanks, Lydia. Find more of that story at WVIA.org. Let's head to Western PA for a minute now. One of Allegheny County's National Historic Landmarks will be getting a $100,000 touch-up, thanks to a grant from Pennsylvania's Historical and Museum Commission. Lucy Landy reports for WVIA.
The Carrie Blast furnaces are key vestiges of Pittsburgh's steel history. As relics of U.S. Steel's massive Homestead Mill, the standing furnaces are two of the last examples of pre-World War II blast furnaces and are iconic sites in industrial history. This is the most recent of many grants awarded to the site's stewards, Rivers of Steel, to preserve the site's history and allow in more visitors safely. Pennsylvania House Representative Abigail Salisbury celebrated the announcement.
You want to preserve history, but you also want to make it accessible, because if no one is able to visit the facility, then, what are you preserving it for other than just preservation's sake?
The grant will be used for concrete foundation and masonry work in the site's blowing engine house.
That was Lucy Landy reporting. Stay with us. There's more up to date after this break.
I'm Roger Dupuis from WVIA News. If you haven't already, sign up to get our free newsletter, WVIA News Notes. It's delivered right to your email inbox each Tuesday and Friday mornings. Go to WVIA.org and click on newsletters to subscribe.
Welcome back. Now it's time for News Voices. This week, WVIA's Haley O'Brien joins me to talk about running in Northeast Pennsylvania. Hello and welcome to News Voices, your weekly look behind the scenes at WVIA News. I'm Sarah Scinto. Thanks for joining us. The Steamtown Marathon is the biggest race in Northeast Pennsylvania. Every October, hundreds of runners tackle the 26.2-mile course through the city. Registration is on the rise this year, and that means more runners in training over the next few months. WVIA's Haley O'Brien is a runner herself and has spent some time with training groups as they get ready to race all over NEPA this year. She's here now to tell us all about it. Hi, Haley.
Hi, Sarah. Good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. So let's start with the barrier breakers. They were one of the groups that you interviewed for this story on the running culture in Northeast Pennsylvania. So who are they and how are they emblematic of that?
The Barrier Breakers are a training program in Lackawanna and Luzerne County run by Valley Running Company and Scranton Running Company. Those are running stores. Mm-hmm. And so they have different running groups that train for different races throughout the year. So it could be a 5K race all the way up to the marathon. So the Barrier Breakers are beginning to train for the marathon this month. That's a 4-month process because the Steamtown Marathon is in October. So I was really interested in meeting some of those people and hearing their stories. Every runner has their own story. Mm-hmm. Some people started with a mile. Some people started by signing up for their first 5K. I spoke to one runner who was part of the Barrier Breakers program, and she said she ran a 5K, thought it would be easy, but turned out to be a little bit difficult for her.
Yeah.
So she joined a training program for the 5K to run faster. And then she ended up running a half marathon in April of this year, and now she's going for the full marathon. So that's a pretty cool story about how the training program is getting people to be really interested in running.
Mm-hmm. So the Steamtown Marathon is the end for this group, and kind of the pinnacle of local races. But what are some of the other races that are available in Northeast Pennsylvania?
There are so many, especially in the spring and the summer. So I did go to one in May at Francis Slocum State Park. That was a little bit unique. It was a trail run, 5.3 miles, and that was run by the Wyoming Valley Striders group. That's a Luzerne County running group. And so they put together that race. They put together many races throughout the year, and they do other things to promote the running company. They have a newsletter, just to kind of keep that engagement going.
Mm-hmm. So why do some of your sources in these groups think the running culture has been growing in these recent years?
Yeah, that's interesting. And that was my big question going into this, because running is a sport that's been around longer than you and I have, mm-hmm. way longer. And so I'm wondering, why is there an increase? That's what originally inspired this story, was an increase in registrations for the Steamtown Marathon this year, more than last year. And so there are a few reasons for that. I spoke to the organizers of the race. They say that they started a new course in 2025, so they think that's part of the reason. But they're also seeing a trend of people wanting to run the longer distance races, mm-hmm. rather than the shorter. And, there was a trend a few years ago of more of those mountain races, the trail races. But, more of those people want to do that 26.2 miles.
All right. So how do you recommend that someone gets into running if they're interested in it right now?
Well, I think, everybody's different, but if you are a beginner, it would be good to just go out and, run as long as you can and then walk, and then run a little bit again and then walk. I think the hardest part is getting through that threshold of not being like the best runner or not being able to do a full mile. But if you keep going and you be consistent, I think that's the number one thing.
Okay. Well, normally I would close this by saying we look forward to your further coverage of running in Northeast Pennsylvania, but unfortunately, this is the last time we're going to have you on News Voices as a WVIA reporter. So instead of that, we'll just say thank you for being here. Thank you for all of your amazing work, and good luck in your next venture.
Thank you, and thank you to our audience. It's been a privilege.
All right, I hope you're feeling up to date. Find more stories, as always, at WVIA.org. I'm Sarah Scinto. Thanks for listening today. If you want to stay in the know, make sure you subscribe and tune in every weekday wherever you get your podcasts. Have a great day, everyone. I'll catch you tomorrow, right here on Up to Date.